Well, we had Dan with us about, a month or so ago?
Yeah, about that.
And we were talking about the need for school bus drivers in the area, and you still have that need, I'm sure, right? You always have a need for those.
It's never ending.
Yeah?
Never ending.
And again,
but I'll tell you what, we did have a great response from our conversation here at Y101.
Good.
It was great.
Good. Glad to hear that. Mm-hmm. And if anybody listening out there would like to maybe become a school bus driver or find out what it takes to be one for the Quincy Public School System, just contact you, I guess, right?
That would be great. Or call the bus barn at 224-5910.
Perfect. Always a need for it, even on a part-time basis.
Absolutely.
Or a substitute basis, I guess.
Yeah, most of the positions are part-time anyway. You can build into full-time if you have the interest and you're available. But we do have a need for our substitute drivers as well.
All right. Well, you're also the training manager, is that right, for Quincy Public Schools Transportation, and you're involved with the State Board of Education as far as getting.
I'm contracted to the state for our Western Illinois region as a school bus driving instructor, and I travel to 10 different school districts and do some school bus driving safety instruction and driving, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and we want to talk a little bit about the safety aspect of school bus, not only driving, but people who drive around school buses, too, and the things that they need to know. And every year, I'm sure you hear the reports of people driving past those stop signs.
We don't have to wait for the reports. We see it every day. Yeah. We see it every day.
How bad is that?
Well, I probably have, on an average, 1 to 2 people running my stop arm every day.
Really?
Every day. And I think if you just polled generally the school bus drivers in Quincy and in the area, they'll tell you the same thing.
This is with a completely stopped bus.
With this red lights flashing, the stop sign out.
What are they?
Well, they're in a hurry. There's a term I've invented that I use with my trainees called artificial urgency. We feel like we have to be there right now. Mm-hmm. And I keep reminding them that we're living in Quincy, Illinois. We're 10 minutes away from anywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's an exaggeration. 3 minutes, maybe. Yeah. So, we need to take a breath. We need to relax a little bit and realize that waiting for a stop school bus is a safety issue. And what's it doing? Killing maybe 30 to 45 seconds out of your trip.
Yeah, and that for some people is too much. Apparently, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah,
that's unfortunate. When the bus is stopped, I know the drivers are strategically stopping buses, obviously, and they position the bus in a certain way too.
Exactly.
Do they not?
Yeah, we try to stop about 20 feet back from where the kids are standing, and all our school buses, at least in the Quincy Public School District, are assigned ones. We don't just pick them in randomly. Bus drivers just don't pick them randomly as they work out their route. They are assigned permanent school bus stops. So they're usually the same every year.
Yeah. When you go on these, for lack of a better word, seminars or whatever, in the instructing courses that you go to, what are some of the things that people ask you? What are the main questions that come up during those?
Well, from the drivers, the major concern is how do we stop people from running our stop arms? Mm-hmm. And the sad truth is there is no way we're going to ever stop that. Law enforcement has beefed up, and the legislature has beefed up the penalties for it. It's $150 first offense, plus you could possibly lose your license for 3 months. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty steep. The second offense goes to $300 and then some. Sad to say, some of the best results of a school bus stop violation is word of mouth advertising. You can't beat it. Yeah. They go around telling everybody I got hit with a school bus driving violation. Yeah. And they tell all their friends, and hopefully word gets around. But all the publicity in the world, and boy, we thank you for letting us come on to talk about that a little bit. It's going to minimize it, hopefully. People are going to become aware, but it's always going to continue.
I have to ask this question because I think there's some state of confusion on this part.
Okay.
For instance, take Broadway in Quincy. It's a 4-lane avenue, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have school buses that do stop on Broadway.
They do.
And the traffic coming the other way, are they required to stop as well?
2 lanes of more of traffic going the same direction, the opposing traffic does not have to stop legally.
Okay.
If they do, we don't say anything about it. We say that's fine because the more cars that are stopped, the better it is.
Safer it's going to be, yeah.
But yeah, on 4 or more lanes, or I should say 3 or more lanes, we're not going to cross kids across the street in that kind of a situation. Right. So the opposing traffic does not have to stop.
Right.
But on all 2-lane roads where there's only 1 lane of opposing traffic, it's a requirement to stop 20 feet before or behind a school bus.
So basically, if you're going westbound on Broadway, you stop if you're in the westbound lanes.
Correct. All traffic going the same direction. If it could be 7 lanes, all lanes going the same direction must stop.
Yeah. All right. Recently there have been all kinds of safety features built onto the school buses with the armatures that come out in front to prevent the kids from walking right underneath the front of the bus.
Exactly.
Are there new things coming down the pike that you're aware of?
Nothing new coming down the pike. School bus construction is actually quite amazing. All the kids I mean, they are designed for safety more than anything else, more than efficiency or anything else. The kids actually sit above what we call the crash line. So if a vehicle, a pickup truck, a car, side T-bones a school bus, the impact of that vehicle is going to be below where the kids are sitting. And that's one of the many reasons that school bus riding is the safest transportation in the world, safer than even airline flight.
Yeah. And your drivers go through updating training and everything all the time, don't they?
Yeah, the state has minimum requirements for what a school bus driver must go through to become a school bus driver. At Quincy Public Schools, we augment that training considerably by 3 or 4 times as much as the minimums. And we spend a lot of time, of course, on the driving, but a lot of time is also spent on other safety issues like school bus evacuations and stop arm violations, and more than anything else, the loading and unloading procedure for students, because that is the most dangerous time of a child's life in their entire adolescence, is when they're approaching or walking away from a stopped school bus.
We're talking with Dan Bartelt. He's the training manager for Quincy Public School Transportation. And you touched on it in your previous answer. I know you talked when you go to these training sessions, some of them are for drivers and some are for just for the public. Is that correct that you speak to? Or?
If people request me to come as a speaker, always will do that. But when I do what we call our refresher courses, it's school bus drivers, mechanics, and administrators.
The problem with people running the stop arms is probably going to continue. I don't know if that's going to slow down.
Never ending, sadly, as that may be.
And how do you stop something like that? The fines would be one thing. Awareness.
I think awareness is going to be the only way we can do that. And efforts like what we're doing today are wonderful toward that end.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we just have to be bus drivers have to be very careful and watch the folks when they're approaching a stop school bus and not call their kids to the bus or away from the bus while cars are still rolling on the road.
Yeah. I'm in the mindset when I'm interviewing you about kids getting off of a bus, but it's just as dangerous getting on that bus.
Absolutely. I've actually had people pass me on the right side.
Seriously.
In the parking lane. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's scary.
If their kids are getting on the bus, they wouldn't be doing that kind of stuff, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. Travel around a school bus like as if your kids are on that bus. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for the drivers, it's a very important position. I know as we started our conversation today, you're still looking for drivers, even on a substitute basis, to be out there to help out. And sometimes it's a full year position.
We're training 12 months a year, virtually, with a little bit of time off on June, but basically we are training year-round.
Yeah, because the buses do go summer schools and things like that to pick up children as well. So if there's any question, or if you'd like to have maybe you speak to an organization,
anytime,
you're more than willing
sure.
to do that kind of thing?
Love to do it.
How do they get in touch with you?
All we've got to do is call the Quincy Public Schools Transportation Department at 224-5910.
Okay. Very important job, a bus driver, obviously.
Absolutely.
And have to be very attentive to what's going on. And there are distractions, obviously, sitting on a bus with the kids in there.
Well, you said the word. Distracted driving is probably the most serious thing going on right now on the roads.
Yeah.
People have got their cell phones. They've got their Big Macs they're eating while they're driving and their cups of coffee. And they're also talking to their own kids in the back of the bus. If I can just throw this in real quick, riding a school bus to school, the kids are like 43% safer riding on a school bus to school than they are in mom and dad's minivan. So if you love your kids, put them on the bus.
Yeah.
And my goodness, a teenage driver driving to a high school at an 83% higher risk of injury or death on their way to or from school than riding on a school bus.
Yeah. The driver's not going to be on their cell phone, that's for sure, when they're driving with a school bus.
Oh, absolutely not. They're absolutely prohibited.
But they are when they're driving their cars. That's the sad thing about it.
And even though that's illegal, we see it all the time.
Yeah,
I saw it on my way over here to the studio.
Yeah, and definitely illegal in school zones, too.
Oh, yeah. And the fines are considerably higher in a school zone.
Yeah. And I would think that maybe the fine should be as high when you run past a school bus arm.
I have no problem with that. Let's ratchet that up a bit.
I mean, just as serious there as it is in front of the school.
It is. It is.
All right, Dan, thank you so very much. And again, if they want to get in touch with you, what do they need to do?
Just call the Quincy Public Schools Transportation Department at 224-5910.
Okay, sounds great.
Thanks, Jeff.
Dan Bartelt with us. We appreciate you coming in.
All right.
Good to see you.